Okay, so you're like a whole bunch of people. Either you went to bed last night or got up this morning with the simple thought is, I hate math. And circumstances have put you in a position where whether it's school or work or a project that you're trying to do at home, you really need some stuff done using math to do it, math in general, if you will, and statistics in particular. And you have looked at stuff and you recognize that with paper and pencil, there almost are no fast and easy statistical problems that you can solve. This video is designed to get you up to date on using Excel statistics um, on your iPad. In other words, working with Excel and solving problems in what I choose to call central tendencies. And, the goal here is to put you in a position where you don't have to struggle with statistics problems because using Excel on your iPad, you'll be able to come up with the answers to those. And in addition to this particular video, there are other statistics videos that are posted on the site. Your goal is, when you see these problems, to have the thought that you hate math out of your head and just to look at it as, hey, it's math time, and math time is going to put you to work doing whatever. And hopefully, what you'll do after you get through it, watching this video, is you'll be more comfortable with using Excel to solve statistics problems. And I hope that if you have positive comments on how you're going to be using Excel or any other questions that you might have, that you'll post them in the area below the video. You have to tab down to get there, and there'll be a place for you to post comments. I would also strongly recommend or suggest or hope, whatever words you like, that you'll see it your way clear to subscribing to my channel. You'll have to click the subscribe button and then the little bell icon. And when you do that, you'll be in a position that as new videos are posted dealing with Excel, which is what I'm going to be doing, you'll automatically get a copy of them hot off the press when they're done. And then if there's any questions that you want to raise, you can actually raise the questions right on the comment section also. And I read those regularly, and I'll get you an answer back very quickly, certainly on a timely basis within a day or so. And again, the goal here is to put you in a position to be able to get the answers that you're looking for, doing statistical problems, but using the power of Excel on your iPad to get it done. So there's two links that are there, both of which you'll have to copy down and enter in your browser to access. The top one will get you to my website. And on the website, you'll see a list of all of the videos that I have posted, and a link will be right alongside of the video so that you'll just have to click on it and you'll be able to bring up that particular video. And then you can, if you prefer just to go to YouTube, you can use the lower address there, which is longer, but that's the address that'll take you right to our YouTube site. And, our goal, my goal, is that once you watch these instructional videos, that you'll have no problem going from a math hater to a math whiz. And so, without further ado then, let's get into the actual work that you're going to be doing with Excel on your iPad. That you're looking at has a number of columns, and let's take a quick look at what they are. On the far left is the sample data that we're going to be using and keying in to come up with the answers that are posed by the functions in column B. Column C, you'll notice that there's a small letter, in this case A, and if you look under the data on row 16, you'll see that A is telling you that the mean is nothing more than the simple average of the data. Column D is showing you what you're going to need to key into your iPad in order for you to come up with the answer to what the mean is. And then when you go over to the column E with the arrow pointing on it, it's showing you what you actually have to enter into the system in order to get the answer. If you look in the upper left where it shows function of x, you'll see equal average parentheses A3 to A15, which is what was shown in column D. And that's really what you need to do to come up with the answer to the problem. Okay, we're going to move a little quicker now, and you'll notice that I slid the arrow down from mean to mode. And to calculate the mode, it says you're going to need to key in equal mode and then highlight the data that's in the sample. Mode, by the way, the definition of that is it's the number, if there is one, that appears more often than any other number in the database. And we could go into details about that there could be more than one mode. There doesn't have to be a mode at all. And for the purpose, though, of simple statistics, let's assume that there's just one mode or no mode in our data. So the columns are the same. You'll notice underneath it says B. The number that appears the most often in the data is the mode. To come up with what that is, I'm going to tap on that cell, and then I am going to put in equals, and then I'm going to start typing the word mode. And as I do that, what you'll notice is the drop-down menu opens and the second item on the list says mode. I'm going to tap on that, and it says to enter the numbers in the database. But I don't really have to do that. What I have to do is click on the 23, which is the first number in the database, and I can grab the little dot in the lower right-hand corner and drag it all the way down. Once I've done that, it's telling me that in order to calculate the mode, I'm going to be keying in equal mode, parentheses A3 to A15, and you'll notice in the previous column, I've told you that's what you need to do. Once you're happy that that's what you want, you're going to tap on the green check, and it's going to tell you in this case that the mode is 54. And so now we're going to be able to continue. Okay, now we're at the next row in our list, and you'll see that that says quartile, EXE, in column D, and we go back to the question is we're being asked for what is the first quartile. If you go down to the bottom, you'll see it's the number that represents the 25% point in the data, which in English means if you sorted the data out from the smallest to the largest, they're asking you for the number that's 25% along the row. Now you don't have to do that because Excel is going to be able to do this for us. So all we're going to need to do is we're going to need to tap on the cell that shows in column E, and we're going to key in equal and start typing quartile. When we do that, you'll notice that there's a whole bunch of quartiles. Quartile, plain quartile, EXC, INC, and you might say, why is there more than one? And the reason that there's more than one is that once Excel was developed, which was a number of years ago, as time went on and upgrades were created for the software, some of the newer operating systems use different functions. For the purposes that you need, EXC in this case is always going to work on your iPad. So for doing quartile, you're going to use EXC. And so when we tap on that, you can see that it's asking us for two pieces of information. First, the array, and all that is, again, is what I'm doing. I highlighted the 23, I grabbed it by the lower dot, all the way down to the last data. all of my data is highlighted, and now I'm going to tap on quartile because there could be quartile 1 or 3, and then occasionally they use 2, which is nothing more than the median. But in this case, we're just going to use quartile. We're going to put in the number 1, and then when we're happy that that's what we wanted to do, we're going to hit the green check, and it's going to tell us that quartile 1 is at 24 and a half. And that's what would be the number if, in fact, we were at exactly the 25 percentile. Okay, moving right along, now we're ready to do quartile 3, which is going to be very similar to what we entered for quartile 1, and nothing more to do there than to highlight that cell, put in our equal sign, start typing the word quartile. When we do that, you're going to see that EXC shows up again. We're going to select that. The array is going to still be the same all the way down. And then this time, instead of putting in 1, we're going to put in quartile 3. When we do that and we're happy with that and we hit the green check, it tells us that quartile 3 is 54. Now we're going to move over to the interquartile range. And you can see that I've already done that. What is the interquartile range? It's the difference between quartile 3 and quartile 1. Quartile 3 in this case we can look at was E7, which was 54. Quartile 1 was 2450. When we subtract, and that's all I've really done, if I highlight this, you look up, you'll see that E7 minus E6 is what's giving us 2950 for the interquartile range. All of these so far are just ways of seeing how much variation occurs in the data set. You're looking at stuff that tends to be data that's around the middle. The closer that all of the data is when you're doing statistics to the average, the more accurate your predictions, if you will, or forecast, probably a better word, are going to be. Okay, the next 3 items on our list, min, max, and range, are related similarly to the way the quartiles are kind of all in one family. All minimum stands for, as you can see by looking down at the letter F on the bottom, it's the smallest number in the database. And in order for us to calculate what that is, you could see the function that we're going to type in. And so I'm now going to key that in by the arrow, and I'm going to say equal, and I'm going to start typing min. And when I put in the MI, you can see that the second item there says minimum. And similarly to what we've been doing is we're going to just highlight the data. And when we do that and we select the green check, we show that the minimum is 12. There's another function in Excel called small, which, no surprise, will give you the exact same answer. What makes it a little bit different is you need one more keystroke. So I kind of like to be lazy and do the minimum amount of keystrokes. So from my point of view, when you're looking for the smallest number, you want to use the function min. To move down the list, again, we're now looking at what the largest number is, or the maximum number. And you can see, and I don't need to really do that all over again, is that we're going to key in max. And then we're going to highlight the data as we've done before. When I click on the 94 and you look in the upper left-hand corner, you'll see that it says max parentheses A3 colon A15 close parentheses. And so that's how we calculate the max. The next item, the range, is found by just subtracting the minimum from the max. And when I move over to that sheet, you could see that the functions that I used, or the formula that I used, is I said that row E10, which in this case was 94, minus the row before it, which was the 12, 94 minus 12, ended up giving us 82 for the range, which is the size of the database. And again, the closer that the numbers all are to each other, the smaller the range of numbers that you're doing calculations with, the more accurate your calculations are going to be when you're trying to forecast things using statistical functions to do so. So we're now ready to move along again. Okay, now we're ready to calculate the variance. And without going into a long, detailed explanation, the variance is just a measure of how all of the data in the data set varies from the average, the mean of the data set. The larger the variation usually indicates that the forecasts and predictions that you're making using the data set aren't going to be as reliable as if there's just a small variance from the data set numbers to the mean. At any rate, what we're going to do is what we've done right along. We're going to put in our equal sign. We're going to start typing VAR, and you're going to see there's a whole bunch of them. The one that works on any operating system is VAR. We're going to select that. We're going to highlight the data. And when we hit the green check, it's going to tell us that the variance is 510.41. Moving from there, we get to the standard deviation. And the standard deviation, even though it's the square root of the variance, you can calculate from standard deviation itself. And so we're going to put in our equal sign. We're going to start typing standard deviation. The second item is the one that we're going to want to use. That one's going to work in all of our operating systems. So we're going to select that. We're going to highlight the data. And when we do that and we hit the green check, we get a standard deviation that's equal to 22.59. And that's really what we're looking at. Following that, the coefficient of variation, there isn't a function in Excel for that. The formula to calculate that, however, is the standard deviation divided by the mean times 100. And so we're just going to go ahead and enter that equals the standard deviation. We could highlight. We could also enter the number if we wanted, divided by the mean, which we know is the average, and then we're going to put in times 100. Now you might notice I didn't use parentheses in my formula, even though I wanted the E13 divided by E4 to equal a single number. As long as there are no addition or subtractions required in the formula, I really don't need the parentheses, and so I didn't use those. When I hit the green check there, it's going to show me that the coefficient of variation in this case is 55.21. Okay, now we're down to the last number on our list, or the last function, and that's median. And the median is nothing more than the number in the center of the database. If we sorted the database from smallest to largest and counted the number of items or numbers that were in it, if it was an odd number, we would be able to identify which was the middle number, and that would be the median. If it was an even number, we would get the two numbers that are in the middle, add them together, and divide by 2 to get the average. So, odd number of data in the list, it's going to be one of the numbers for sure that's in the database. Even number in the list, it isn't necessarily a number there. Usually it is not. All we're going to need to do there is put in our equal sign, start typing median. Median comes up, and we do the same thing that we've done right along as we highlight all of the data. And when we're happy that we've got it all highlighted properly, we hit the green check and we get the median number, which is in this case 37, which happens to be one of the numbers that are in the database. So that really covers what I call measures of central tendencies. Please look for other videos in the statistical area certainly help you if you're taking a course in statistics by making calculations to solve problems one hell of a lot easier. But hopefully, if you're in a position where you're going to be using statistics outside the classroom, you'll find that the Excel version on your iPad is more than adequate to do what you need to do to solve problems and come up with the right answers that will help you to do business calculations and make better business decisions. You have just watched the video on calculating central tendencies using Excel on your iPad. Don't be startled or concerned that that sounds like it's complicated. Central tendencies basically talk about data that's in the middle of any group of numbers. And there are several functions in Excel to help you to calculate that. And as you'll see when you get into using Excel to do statistics problems, it's not really very complicated and is tremendously a tool, a good tool to save time. So after you've watched this video now, hopefully it made sense to you and you understand how to perform the various problems by using the functions that are there for you in Excel that deal with central tendency. But any comments that you have, good or bad, you can post in the area below the bottom of the screen. You'll see there's a place for comments. And if you have any questions, if there was something you were trying to accomplish and you watched my video and you don't think I addressed your concern, ask a question and I promise I will get back to answer them as quickly as I can, a day or so the most. What's most important to me is for you to want to and to actually subscribe to my channel. If you do this, that will put you in a position where you're going to get copies of the new videos that I post as I post them. You will need a Google email address to do that, but that applies for any YouTube stuff that you want to subscribe to the channel. You don't have to give up your existing email at all. And you can certainly open up a Google email that you just use to get YouTube videos. So go ahead and do that, and you'll find that being able to get copies of new videos as they're posted by myself or other channels that you're interested in will be a real boon to you. It'll keep you up to date on the various subjects that you're interested in. Any other comments that you have on my videos are appreciated. If you love the video and you say, hey, thumbs up for this guy, great. But if you felt that there was things that failed you in the video that didn't address your concerns or weren't explained in a plain, simple language that you understood, raise the question. You want to give me a thumbs down, do that. I have thick skin, and I'm going to use what you say to correct what I've got there so that it'll be easier for yourself to go back to it and others to be able to get the most possible out of the videos that I've posted. All of the videos that I have posted could be found on my website, which is the top number there in blue, and you'll probably have to copy down the link and enter it in your browser because I don't think you can tab on it or click on it right from here. Or if you prefer to just go into YouTube and look at the videos that I've posted there, you can go ahead and select this link, which again, you'll have to copy it down, paste it into your browser, and then when you enter it, it'll bring up the whole YouTube channel. So hopefully you got a lot out of this, enough out of it that I will be seeing you again in a future video from my site. That will help you to be a real whiz at solving statistical problems and other math problems using Excel and on your iPad.